Garrett Bush. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Yeah!
I knew it. I knew you was gonna do it. That's why I did it. I know G's move. Start with the Birdman hand rub.
Hey, man, before we start, man, shout out to Tyvus and Shoes today, man. I ain't gonna hate on him, you know what I'm saying?
Little Travis Scott.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say that's a haymaker right there. You know what I'm saying? He's a haymaker. You gotta, you better have some arsenal behind you because, you know what I'm saying? Them is definitely repeatable.
He got the Travis.
They're not repeatable. I'm not gonna. You won't see these again until next year.
Look, he got the Travis Scott song in honor of the lawsuit. Right? So, lawsuit Travis Scott, lawsuit NFL. I got you. I see the coordination here. I see the coordination.
Right, facts, right. We got OG in the building. Hey, OG, I know you got some big name people that's ready to come up to the Players Union and show these football brothers how to get it done.
I'm stymied. I'm stymied here. I mean, this is nonsense. I said it again. Here, be clear, because I told you I got 4 daughters. I'm sympathetic to everybody.
Right.
But this is nonsense.
Right? It's tomfoolery.
Tomfoolery at the best. We have a legal proceeding that's supposed to follow a certain procedure.
Man.
I'm trying to explain this to Tyvus earlier. Here's a procedure. And then the head of the NFL, the face, Goodell, he weighs in on the procedure before the hearing. I'm like, what is this nonsense?
It was strong and indignant. But I'll tell you what, this person is always strong and indignant. We got Jay in the building.
Whoa.
Jay's ready to go early. He logged up. Hey, you signed up early? He ready to go.
Yeah, I decided to join you guys off the top.
What you got on?
Yeah,
what you got on?
Jersey?
Oh, this cat, you know what? He got, I don't even know.
Is that the Sandusky Saints? What is that?
No, man, that's the St. Paul Saints. See, here's the deal. That's one of the minor league teams I pitched for. I have to get into a game day. You guys know this. You have to get into a game day mentality before you can bounce back from an illness. So I'm just telling myself that today's game day, and I have to be better. I can't still feel like crap. So it's mind over matter. As soon as the show's over, I'm going to get my first cardio in 9 days, and I know that's going to make me better. So I'll be fine by tomorrow, I hope.
Now, is your name on the back of this jersey?
Not this one. No, I have several that it is on the back of, but not this one.
Now you play. I think you play for like a Long Beach State or something beach squad that don't even got a uniform no more. Because I was trying to find the hat. I was looking for it.
I got that. Hey, I've got that uniform too. Maybe I'll wear that one tomorrow.
Look, I'll be doing my research.
Let's have a day where everybody pull out their joint.
Jay, in all seriousness, I hope you get better because I'm not taking this thing as an excuse. I'm still taking you over the fence whenever you're ready. So, get your cardio in, get the shoulder ready to go because I need you to throw something because you're going over the fence. And we're going to have it live on UCSS for the world to see.
Oh, I love that. So let me get a little scouting report. What don't you like? What do you like? You like cutters? Do you like sliders, curveballs, fastballs? What's your pitch?
I'm really not a curveball guy. If you're going to throw a curveball,
good to know.
I'm going to just put the bat down.
Jay,
hey, that's good to know, man. That's good to know. I'm taking notes.
The curveball is why I retired.
Jay, for most brothers, hit them with the changeup, right?
The changeup. I will be aggressive.
We're going back to the dugout.
Well, I'd have been swung 10 minutes early.
I'm gonna tell you one person that ain't hit him with a changeup yet. Roger Goodell in the NFL has been throwing all fastballs.
This is
Can you hit it?
This is becoming comical. Jay, this is becoming comical here. Because this is so far beyond Deshaun Watson. We just into another atmosphere here.
Can the commissioner issue a gag order on himself, please?
Yeah. I wish he would.
You're right, Brad. The point that struck me the most about this is he's influencing the judge.
Yes.
And by the way, he's the judge's boss.
That's his best friend.
And he clearly weighed in yesterday on what he thinks his employees should do to make his boss happy. Right. Guys, this is it's the most bizarre kangaroo court setup I've ever seen. Here. Because first you had the dog and pony show with the real judge, Sue L. Robinson, who has 25 years experience. And then that's all circumvented because in a garbage agreement between the NFL and the NFLPA, one of the two parties can break ties, essentially.
Right.
So that's a joke. And then him weighing in yesterday.
That's why they laugh.
And guys, Brad, you know, Goodell is very smart. He's very calculated. That wasn't done by accident.
No, that was
He knew
purpose.
when he came out there that he would be asked about Deshaun Watson, and he had his answer ready to go. And I just think that in a situation where he's going to be, ultimately he's the arbiter here. I mean, let's face it. He's named Peter C. Harvey as the guy that's going to break the tie. And we know which way Goodell is leaning now, as if we didn't before. But yesterday was big because it was the first time he's really weighed in publicly with his thoughts on Sue Robinson's decision. So, guys, on one hand, when you read Sue L. Robinson's decision, there's no getting around the fact that she absolutely believed that there was clear evidence that he was guilty on all three counts against him in defaming the league. It's also clear that she wanted to do more, but she felt that her hands were tied because of the guardrails and the limitations that the league itself imposed. So what's extremely bizarre to me is, on one hand, you know what the evidence is. On the other hand, you know that the judge is limited by the guidelines that the NFL has instituted. And now they're ready to take the eraser to all of that, change the rules in the middle of the game. And I don't think I think it's by design that they're making the Browns wait. And why would I say that? Because I think at this point the league is about punishing the Browns, not just Deshaun Watson. I think it's also about punishing the Browns because they're not happy with the way the contract was structured. Yeah. So they're going to make everybody sit around and wait, and so much for expedited justice. I mean, it's becoming a joke.
Well, McNuggets, really quick before we dive back in here, we got some sound from I believe this is Goodell, correct?
Yeah, this is Goodell saying this is the question and his answer to what he was asked yesterday. Steve, let's play the soundbite.
Why go back to seeking the full year suspension?
Because we've seen the evidence. She was very clear about the evidence. She reinforced the evidence that there was multiple violations here. They were egregious, and it was predatory behavior. Those are things that we always felt were really important for us to address in a way that's responsible.
Okay, so let me just. I can't.
Go
wait.
ahead.
I cannot,
go ahead. I'm gonna let you.
Wait.
Y'all about the same age. Go ahead and get him together. Go ahead.
I cannot wait. And again, let me be clear. I always preface this, right?
Okay.
This is not about Watson. We're talking about the process here. The process of basic labor law. So you have the head of the NFL weighing in advance of the decision to his own hand-picked person who's going to be the de facto arbitrator. So Goodell is the de facto arbitrator here, right?
Yes.
And he wanted out in the ethos what he wanted to see done. You think Harvey didn't see that? Mm-hmm. Oh, he absolutely saw it, right? So and without getting political, it's very Trump-like. Yes, it is. It's very Trump-like.
I'm okay with getting political. Go ahead.
So you lay it out here in the air, and it becomes reality. Well, here, because let's talk about just talk about basic labor law. There was no notice given. This is a collectively bargained agreement between two parties. Mm-hmm. So if you want to make some changes, there's notice that has to be given. Yeah. There's no notice given here, right? Okay. Then the second thing is here, Sue L. Robinson laid down what she thought what she saw gave her presumption of evidence that said, in her opinion, that would led her to using the words egregious and predatory behavior, which by coincidence, I guess, those are the same words Goodell used. He stole them right from her. Mm-hmm. Now again, Someone on the other side could say, well, wait a minute. There were 2 grand juries down in Texas that didn't come to that conclusion.
We don't care about that.
So we don't care about that.
Yeah,
See,
that's beneath everybody.
This matches my narrative. So I'm going to go, this is where I'm going here, right? And so to Jay's point, it's about punishment now. They come to punish Watson. They come to punish the Browns because they feel like the Browns have gotten over on them, right? And then they've done the other thing. They did the ultimate sin in football. They gave somebody a fully guaranteed contract, and a guy who is not their face of the NFL. So now everybody's getting a little pushback here. And I will tell you the other thing that Sue L. Robinson that they don't tell you is what she did was basic labor law. There were things done in the past. They call them past practice. It's past practice. That's why she was guarded by the guardrails here to say, I got to stay within the box. So this is what you have done in the past in other situations very similar to this. So I'm going to come, even though if I want to do more, past practice allows me to say, I'm in the realm.
She said in her punishment, she said, I'm giving him 6 games, and that's unprecedented.
Yeah,
that's the highest that it's ever been. Now let's take this. They wanted a year. That's 166% more than what the judge gave. And the laughable thing that we talk about here, he talks about, well, the evidence was clear. She gave us what we wanted. See, it ain't about what the justice was. She handed you, and you piecemeal picked what you wanted. If you gonna pick that, you also forgot, Roger, that she gave 6 games. You gonna stick to that? Or she also told you, you've been practicing let's go do the public appeal. And here's another thing which got me, and we look like Boo Boo the Fool. We all look like idiots. This thing actually has been getting wheels from the jump street. Do you think it's very, the 2 major public out, Pro Football Talk, the NFL Network, all these different outlets, is it a surprise that they've been over the top, over the moon for hey, we got to get more, because here's the thought process.
Who they get paid by? Who they get fed? Who they get fed by?
Right. Access, right?
They get fed by who?
The NFL.
Exactly.
It's all about access. And I always say to myself, she was a nice young lady. Woman asked a question, but I always ask myself, why would you be able to ask that question with a straight face and all straight and narrow and everything? But you ain't not one person in a scrum, one person in a huddle say, well, Mr. Goodell, when can we expect that investigation to start on the Houston Texans? We see 30 allegations. They paid 30 people. What is the league stance on that? Mr. Goodell, what is the league stance on Robert Kraft? Some are saying that these are similar items, but one person is doing this. Not one person has asked them that question. You know why? People in the media get paid off of access. And if you don't think your editors and your engineers and the higher ups and the CEOs don't tell you, hey, be cool. We ain't asking no questions about no owners. We gonna stick right to the script. Because guess what? We wanna be invited to the interviews. We still gotta keep the access. So let's be clear, this was never gonna get done a certain type way. It was always rigged, and it's continued to be rigged. Tybus, do you see any other way?
I told y'all at the beginning of this show, before we got on, that the NFL and NFLPA and Deshaun Watson is looking at their poker hand right now, and they seeing the field. And so far, they like, you know what? We just gonna fold our hand on this one, and that's what it's looking like, and it's unfortunate because Brad is so upset by the process. And I continuously tell Brad,
it's sickening.
Brad, they agreed to that process, and there's no way that they're gonna change it for the next. When is the next CBA? When is it? It's 2030.
Can you tell me?
This is what I said. And Jay, I want you to jump in on this, Jay. See, I came up at a different time. I was a young player, and I had the fortune of being around some real old school guys that didn't play. They just were about their business. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say it again. Isaiah Thomas, about his business. Magic Johnson, about his business, right? And the business is of the group. It ain't about just me, right? And sometimes in that group, somebody in the group going to get sacrificed for the betterment of the group. And it's not just for us today. It's for those that come behind us.
Yeah.
Because this is what is irritating anybody else, Tyvus, here, that has been in a professional associate. the head of the union, Jamar Smith, what's his name?
That's that.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have had no job.
He shouldn't have.
I need you to explain to me why he still has a job.
Incompetence. I mean, this is basic incompetence here.
He sold y'all up the creek.
The fact that
they're working two games. They're working two games here. The NFL is. One is the legal system game and how they're rigging it behind the scenes, right? My opinion. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is they're working a serious PR game here. A serious PR game. They dragging him through the mud, right? Mm-hmm. There's nobody from his side pushing back on anything.
At all.
On anything, right? So I guess whatever you say is de facto fact now. I mean, this is fact.
Busby get out here and tap dance.
It's because it looks like it, from the public's perspective, it looked like it's checkmate already. Like, what is?
That's why.
What are they going to say?
That's why. No, what are they going to say?
They're going to come out and say, the only thing that they can come out and say is that 2 grand juries proved this man was innocent. That's the only thing.
That's a higher standard type.
That's the only logical thing that they can say. Everybody knows
that. And I've said this before. You don't get the answer to the end. They want the answer in the beginning, right?
Jay,
they already had the answer.
Let me get to Jay. Let me bring Jay back in. Jay, you've worked in the news, right? You know how the game is played through media and how the the news cycles and all these things. Can you give us an insight into why is the NFL doing such a masterful job after Busby did a masterful job? And it just seems like the messaging, the pushback is completely invisible for Watson and his team and the NFL Players Association.
Well, don't get it mistaken here that the NFL, more than anything else, they're great at everything. But what they're really best at is marketing and public relations. They've had some really strong scandal over the last couple of years. They always seem to spin out of it. It's because they have some of the best PR people, not just in sports, but really in the entire world that are fronting their organization. A couple of things that I'd like to quickly address. You talked about the news cycle. As it pertains to television, and this is something that I didn't like when I worked at ESPN. I like it even less now that I'm on the outside because I know how it works on the inside. ESPN and the NFL Network and Fox Sports and NBC Sports and CBS Sports, they are all business partners, guys.
Yes, they are.
They're all business partners. So in the early 2000s, when the NFL was furious with ESPN over a dramatic series called Playmakers that was really quite successful, with a phone call to ESPN, they got the show canceled.
Shut it down.
Ooh. They shut it down. And they shut it down because they didn't like the perception of what ESPN was putting out there for professional football, even though it was a mythical league, it wasn't the NFL. Yeah. They didn't like the perception that viewers might confuse this with the NFL and you're our business partner and you're hurting our entire business model with this, so shut it down, and it got shut down. That's just one example. Another example that stands out to me, ESPN was working with NPR on a massive research project on CTE. And they were getting ready to, they were already in production, but they were starting to promote the fact that they were going to have this lengthy series on head injuries in the NFL. And the NFL didn't like that. The NFL didn't like one of their business partners, ESPN, putting together a product that was going to show the NFL in a negative light. So the project never aired on ESPN. And when you wield that kind of power, and make no mistake, the NFL is the most powerful entity in United States sports. Worldwide, soccer, there are some soccer bodies and federations that probably have a little bit more power internationally than the NFL. But the NFL is a juggernaut when it comes to power and wielding that power for its benefit in the United States. It is bizarre to me that they continue to operate with this almost mob mentality. We don't like you, we will squash you, we will shut you down. And if you look at their track record on these cases that have gone to federal court, the NFL is undefeated. When Maurice Clarett won his case to be able to enter the NFL, sooner than the normal 3 years removed from high school.
Yeah, they choked him out.
The NFL just found a court that they liked. They appealed the verdict and they won.
Right.
They won. They've won all of these cases where discipline has been appealed at the federal level. Zeke Elliott, of course. I'm not sure if Ben Roethlisberger went to a federal level on the appeal. But if you go back and you start researching how the NFL does once these cases go to federal court, you're going to find out they're undefeated. They are massive in scope, and they are ruthless the way they wield their power. So you have to look at the track record of what's going on here, and you have to understand that they're going to get their way, because that's what the NFL does. By hook, by crook, no matter what. The game is rigged. We know the game is rigged when you look at the NFLPA and the NFL agreement. How they ever agreed to letting one of the parties involved in the dispute ultimately decide an appeal on that dispute, that is buffoonery. And I don't know how DeMaurice Smith is going to survive this. I really don't, because, Brad, you've talked at length on the program since we started that over the course of the last 2 decades, the NBA has gone from a league where the players had almost no power,
right,
to now having complete and total power in their hands.
Took us a while.
The NFL is the predominant sport in the United States. So why is it their players have the least amount of power amongst all of the professional sports? Their contracts aren't guaranteed. And when one of them is guaranteed, somehow the media takes sides with the NFL and says, this is ridiculous. How could he possibly get all that money guaranteed?
Drill down on that,
Jay,
Brad.
let me answer that one question right there. Here's the problem, right? The problem is this. The NBA used to be, when I first broke into the NBA, the NBA was like this, Jay. They had all the power. I remember they had some players I played with, and they would be at the end of their contract, free agent year. So you said at the end of the free agent year, they still controlled the rights to where you went. Even when you were a free agent, total free agent, you couldn't move. So unless they agreed to allow you to slip out, they would hang you out the drive or a clothesline and hold you there. People sitting out there can't get work anywhere, right? So what happened? The players got wise and figured I had to show them that we're not indentured servants here. We're the product, and without us, it doesn't work. And you have to walk on them. They have to know that, boy, you will bleed. I'm going to bleed, but you're going to bleed too, right? And until you establish that, right, that's how you get parity here. The problem with the NFL, Jay, is this. The players don't walk. They don't do it at all. And then they peel off a few, and then the whole thing seems to collapse because everybody's saying, like, well, I got bills. Well, hell, everybody got bills, right? Everybody got bills, right? And this is not for today. This is for later. Because they have to become your real partner. That's what happened to the NBA. The NBA and the players are really partners now. Now, the NBA doesn't like how it's going now, so they're going to try to shift it a little bit. Yeah. But before it was 80-20 this way, now it's 55-45 the other way. To your point, and Tyvis, I want you to weigh in on this, though. See, the NBA, you got top LeBron and KD, if you got one of them, you guaranteed to get somewhere. You got one, just one. Yeah. They put you there. Now, when you talk about football, there's people like me that was never made it to the league and would give their right arm or left arm to even get a sniff of it. There's also the majority of your players that, as Tyvis says, they not making a certain amount of money, and they great at doing this. They say, hey, look, these people at the top of the food chain, that little 15%, maybe 10%, them is quarterbacks and guys' skill position. Is you willing to lay it on the line? You willing to lay your chance? Because you only got 3 years tops. We could go strike right now, and you might not get back. What, you 26? What, you about 26, bro? You want to do that? You go tell your old lady at the house who got bills and got kids, and you tell her, well, honey, we got to do this for the common. See, we not. And by the way, African Americans don't do a good job of taking up for one another. We don't really divulge and invest in each other. We don't invest in our community. Like we talk about it. 9 times out of 10.
They say, "Oh, well, you got it. Hook me up."
Yeah.
No, you got to believe in paying people and doing stuff. But that's a very tough sell.
Well,
Tyvus.
the other thing I'll just tell you, and to Jay, I want you to understand this. The NBA was like this. When your top dogs at the top are saying, "This is what we're gonna do," don't break this line. Cause we're gonna punish you. We're gonna punish you if you break this line.
You nailed it.
Right. And you had guys around, your low man on Torpo was like, I better not do a thing because they gonna get me.
It was some people that was, I told you, all the older players told us, like, we locking out. Like, say no. And like I told you, what the problem is, when it came down to it, and that man came out and said that this was a great contract, we getting compensated. I think before it switched to 17 games, that last 16 game series, you was getting $90,000 to $100,000 added on to your contract before you even played.
Let me tell you.
So people was like, "Oh, that's it."
The silliness of it is that you run around here, the only league running around here with non-guaranteed contracts. They front you some money up front. You feel like, I got some money up front, though.
I'm gonna tell you what.
Listen, I turn one ankle, you still pay me for the next 6 years. I don't care. I'm gonna sit down right over here. I'm taking a hamper day. I don't think I'm playing today. So you people in St. Louis, we ain't even coming out. I'm sitting on the sideline in my hoodie.
Let's bring. We got another. I can't wait to hear what he talk about. We gonna bring Leroy in here. He ready to go. I know he jumping at the bit.
Man. He's jumping at the bit. Before we get to Leroy on the Gridiron Guys hotline, we got to tell you about our favorite roofers in Northeast Ohio, which is Gridiron Guys. Family owned since 2003, the Gridiron Guys have grown to become Northeast Ohio's top-rated roofers. They exemplify quality work practices and are a valued resource for homeowners. Plus, they offer a 10-year workmanship warranty. Call 330-573-7967 today for a free estimate or roof inspection.
Gridiron Guys.
Man, that be killing me. That's some funny stuff right there.
Hey, look at
him. He's just shaking his head.
Let's go.
Let's
come on up in here. Get you
I'm going to need some Michigan up in here today.
Whoa.
Google Michigan.
Whoa.
Come on, I'm going to need that
We
today.
don't need that.
Yes, we do.
We don't need that.
He's my brother today. Come on, Leroy.
Leroy, let me tee this up. Now, we just giving them context on the situation with Deshaun Watson. Obviously, we can keep beating the dead horse and talking about what they want to do and how they want to move. But I'm going to tell you like this. This all boils down to the way the relationship put by the Players Association is with the NFL at this point in time. And I thought Jay brought up a crazy point. You got to think about it. You ain't going to hear people in other stations saying that. These is their business partners. So you're not going to get the real testament in the media. What's your thoughts on how it got to be where it was as far as the labor and why we got to where we are today?
From the beginning, when everybody was talking about what the penalty would be, I let you guys know what my biggest fear was. And my biggest fear was that with all these new CBA arrangements, with all these plans, that this situation could end up in the hands of Roger Goodell. Mm-hmm. And so with all the pomp and circumstance of we have an arbiter, we have a former judge, Sue Robinson, very respected, all these things, we end up in the same spot we have been in for years past. And that is the problem I have. This whole situation has gotten so far away from what the penalty should be for Deshaun Watson and what did Deshaun Watson do, to now it's let's make us look good. And look, I do believe that he's culpable in some in this situation. I do believe that he should have been more careful. And he is a person that is supposed to lead a team. He can't be in these situations. All that I agree with. Okay? But for this to now go back to Roger Goodell, it's not about the penalty. You had a damn judge. Somebody who does this for a living. Somebody who read all the evidence, who's been reading evidence for 20, 30 years. Determine what the penalty should be. And it wasn't good enough. Now, I don't know how we ended up here. And I heard you guys talking about the power that the NFL has over the players. And part of the reason is this. Of baseball, basketball, and football, football has the shortest lifespan. So the guys that might be fighting that fight in 3 or 4 years might not even be in the league. So that's a problem. When you talk about basketball, the guys that are fighting that good fight are in the league for 15 years. So you're going to outlast a lot of the people making some of these decisions. It's not like that in football. And so what has happened here is, to all you guys' point, is that you have in this hand, I don't know how long my career lasts. I got to get it when I can get it. And then you have this other side saying, I got to do something to make our situation better. And you fight with this. Because if you get to a point where you fighting for what's going to make the Players Association better and the players' situation better, you're going to have another job. And so that's hard. That's why I'm never going to tell a player that plays football what he should do or how he should handle the situation. But when you do this over and over and over again, and the CBA comes up and it comes over, and you're still going to have the same situation because that's just the way the league is. And so, you know, I understand that the NFL feels that Deshaun Watson should be punished more. Hell, Deshaun Watson thinks he should be punished less. Doesn't that make it a good deal? Neither party's happy. I mean, why do we have to go through all our resources till you get what you want? You should have just led with that and stopped all the charade. So I hope, you know, and to Jay's point, here's why no federal judge is going to do anything. Because we have something called the CBA. They ain't going to touch that. They're not going to overturn anything in that CBA because it was collectively bargained. And so as a judge, you are playing with fire if you go in and say, I'm not going to abide by the collective bargain agreement that you guys have. That being said, that takes us to another situation. Why in the hell did we agree to this? If you knew at any point in time, it could be back into the hands of Roger Goodell. You know, it's like when you go buy a car or something like that, and they charge you for something and they say, it ain't gonna never happen, but we gonna put this in the contract just in case. Right? It always happens.
Leroy, can I give you a hypothetical and see if this is perhaps how this goes down? Because I don't know. I've never been in any of these negotiating sessions. I have a feeling I understand how they work. But the league, the players pick their key issues, and the league picks its key issues. And the negotiation is a give and take. And what I've seen in the history of the NFLPA, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm speaking out of turn. I don't know. I've followed the negotiations over the years. But it seems to me that the Players Association is always too quick to give on key issues as long as it means they're getting more money. And sometimes in a negotiation, there's more than just the money that comes into play with all of this. And I feel like, Jay, I think it was Brad or G. Bush made the point, hey, man, we're going to get 90,000. No, I'm sorry. It was Tyvis. We're going to get 90,000 added onto our contract at least because they're going to add that 17th game. And that quelled a lot of the players were like, oh, cool, we'll take that. And then the league held tightly to what was important to it. Control. And that's ultimate control. And I think that at some point for this to change, the Players Association is going to have to be led by someone who I believe truly has its best interests in mind. Let me ask you a question. Who was the union head when you played?
Gene Upshaw.
Okay. Did you ever feel as a player that something ain't right with Gene in the league? Because I talked to a lot of players, Leroy, that
there were a
told me
lot of
flat out.
situations. There were a lot of situations that presented itself that you could kind of tell that it was a give and take situation. But I think that sometimes in order to defend your clientele, you can't be friends with the enemy, right? And it doesn't mean you don't like them. It just means that as far as who I'm representing, I have to show that I am willing to get what's best for
give me a
them.
3-shot.
Did you feel, Leroy, that at any point Gene was making key decisions that might not necessarily be in the best interest of the Players Association, but it might have been serving the bigger purpose of harmony and unity?
Hey, Jay.
Did that ever exist?
That plays into it also. But I would say this is that you have to understand that each CBA that comes up, there is a specific thing that the players want to get out of it.
Right.
Right? So, 92, 93, or before that, it was the free agency thing.
Right.
It was getting rid of that Plan B stuff. And it just kind of went on from there. Then we had a whole nother situation that presented itself in the next CBA, and these are the sticking points at that time. So maybe you give up a little something on the other end, and you don't have to, and you get what you want. Now, it's a weird situation because, maybe somebody like DeMaurice Smith and the Players Association is really pushing the issue of, hey, we wouldn't be in this situation. You guys just handle your business.
Jay,
you see what I mean?
Jay, I'm gonna jump in on Leroy's point here. So the relationship between the Players Association, I don't care Leroy or any Players Association and any league, it's incestuous by nature. You have to guard it. You have to guard against that, right? Because you can.
And if it's not, you should be raising eyebrows.
Right. You can get real. Everybody can get real chummy here, right? The union's head of the union's job is to represent its players to the fullest. We're not cousins. We not friends. We just colleagues. That's all we are. The problem is sometimes is that you can get it intertwined in such a way that you can lose your vision here. And what happens is, if your leadership, and I'm not talking about the head of the union, I'm talking about the players, because the players run the union. Be clear, they run the union. If the ones at the top of the pyramid aren't in sync, saying we're going this way, we're heading south, you're gonna have somebody always say we're going west. Now let's go. No. If the top tier people saying we're going south and we're not looking back, the others will fall in line. And be clear, everybody's not gonna make it. Well, and I feel for the dude that's 1 year, 2 year dude. We not on that.
Well, it's hard. It's hard to know who that guy is, because I would tell you that one of the Pouncey twins, once that they, DeMaurice Smith came out and said that this is a great deal. We've reached some agreements on things, and I think I'm gonna encourage our players to sign it. One of the Pouncey twins definitely created a video. I'll send it to you. It's on YouTube. He came out and said that deal is BS. None of y'all young players sign that. I'm telling y'all right now. Listen to me. I want to see what's best for y'all. And he did. So everybody didn't agree with that. And I would look at him as one of the top people.
No disrespect to the Pouncey twins. They not running this thing. It's Brady. It's them. If I don't have Jordan, if I don't have John Thomas, if I don't have Magic Johnson, if I don't have Bird leading the way,
they wasn't saying that.
That's the problem.
But here's the deal. The relationship that your stars have with the rest of the league is different than the stars in the NFL have with other players. You basically only have a relationship mostly with other guys that play your position if it's quarterback, and the guys on your team. You see what I'm saying? Like it is. You're not shocked if you see Bam Adebayo working out with Donovan Mitchell. Okay?
No, but
it's not a shock.
Leroy, back to my time. Hold on. Back to my time. I disagree with that. Jordan and Thomas don't like one another.
Right.
They don't like one another at all. But we're going to come together on this thing here. And then when we get this thing done, we're going back to
what it's not about it's so many players in the NFL that you don't communicate with them.
I'm going to give y'all this, and this is why I tell somebody all the time. When I came into the game, they said, you should not talk about politics. I said, why not? Politics is part of the game. This is political in its nature right here. One of the things that you can learn from politics is getting your ducks in a row. One thing the Republican Party did years ago, they said, we got one law we want to overturn. You know what they did? They started 40 years ago, 50 years ago, and they started lining up judges. They said, I'm going to line up the judges. I'm going to get these House races. Forget about the other stuff. We're going to worry about state to state, because our goal is we're going to kick everything back to the state. And when we kick it back to the state, we got the legislators. And then guess what? You turn around 50 years ago later, people will wake up and say, how did they overturn that? That had precedent. No. They were doing that 50 years ago. For me, as an outside looking in, players union, you ain't got too much to lean on. But what you can do is you can get your ducks in a line. What do I mean by that? You can say, look, you either going to pay these dudes higher now or they going to get us later. So here's what we're going to do. We need a nest egg. We need something where we can guarantee that we can go to the young brothers in time in the future and say, hey, we got you for 2 years. We got you for 2 years if we need to go to war with this. But you got to set that up 20, 30 years in advance.
Be clear. The players are the show. I mean, they're not the total show, but they are the show. If you don't remember when they had the scabs, Jay? Remember that garbage football? We had to watch that nonsense, right?
Yeah, no one liked it.
Nobody liked it at all. So if the product moves out the way, I guarantee you'll get people to the table. Like,
here's the deal, guys.
It's only going to take 1 year, Tyvus, I promise.
Listen, like I told you, it was they tried to establish I told you, they took the Madden checks for years, and then they created a little fun.
They took the check.
Why does that make you laugh? They took the Madden checks for like 2 or 3 years.
They're your checks.
That's like $60. That was like $60,000 to hold you
off.
off.
Your likeness, and they're keeping your money. Okay.
They not about to. These young guys is not about to forfeit. Undrafted player is not about to forfeit his $16,000 to $17,000 a week check.
They took
he's not about to afford to do that. So that it's not going to happen.
Here's the problem.
Come on, Leroy.
Tyvus, here's the other problem, is that if you look at the 32 quarterbacks in the league, most of them are company guys.
Yeah.
Right? Meaning they all about the team, the organization, and getting everybody in line.
Mm-hmm.
In order for this to happen, 5 or 6 of them quarterbacks are going to have to take a stand.
Mm-hmm.
And how they go about it and how they do it is on them. But those are the stars that you're talking about.
Yes.
Those are the guys that everybody feels they need to win a Super Bowl. So if the guys you feel you need to win a Super Bowl go to the players reps and the players union and DeMaurice Smith and say, hey, we need to fix this. Now we're having a whole different conversation.
Right.
Because that same message that same message that the coach passed to the quarterback and the quarterback relays to the team, that same message could be from DeMaurice Smith to quarterback to the players.
Leroy, the problem with that is, I'm sure you remember this, is in the 80s and 90s. It may even still go on today. The quarterbacks had their they had their own little marketing gimmick off here to the side. So it was Marino and Esiason and Jim Kelly and John Elway. They all got together, and here's what they said. Why should we get 1/660th, however many players there are in the NFL, why should we get a sliver of the licensing pie when there's really 32 guys that are moving this machine?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So they carved out their own little gimmick. These guys are inherently selfish. I mean, forget the betterment of all of our players. They were off there on the side getting their own little gimmick going on. And I don't know, does that still happen?
That's part of the problem with the things that we're talking about. It's easy, and here's where I'm trying to be a little hesitant. Because it's easy to sit on the outside and tell you what people should do. But I've been in that situation.
Leroy froze. Let me say this until we get.
There we go. Are we back?
There you go.
So I've been in that situation, and when they that I don't know what's wrong with my internet, boys, but and they've said to me that
Dan Marino's freezing it up.
To do.
Jay. Right.
He said, Dan Marino making you mad. He frees you up. Let me just to Leroy, because Leroy's going to come back in a second. Let me tell you something. Then Dan Marino and them have to be punished. Yes, they do. And who punishes them? The rest of the people in the union. You don't get out of line. We're in this together. If I'm going to bleed, you're going to bleed too. You don't get more than I get. We all in here together. And it took us a while.
And Brad,
it took us a while to get there, Jay. But when we got there,
you just nailed it, though, Brad. You just nailed it. The reason that your league has taken leaps and bounds, because they were way behind everybody 30 years ago.
Tell me
the reason they've leaped past the NFL and leaped over the Major League Baseball is because its superstars realized that they were getting theirs. They had more than they'd ever use, but they took on a less selfish approach. And the Jordans and the Magics and the Birds and all of the superstars got together and they said, we've got to take this game into an area where the players have more of their of control over their careers. Exactly. Where in the NFL, that hasn't happened. It's almost like everybody is just grabbing their own piece of the pie, running back to their crib, and they're fine with that.
Jay, and that payoff that Jordan and put in is now manifesting itself in LeBron James and that group now.
But we also have to take into consideration that we cannot ignore the fact that race plays in this. For years, the NFL has been protective over the quarterback position. Y'all can play everything else, but don't get too happy with the quarterback now. And the reason that is because Jay talked about it. You got Kelly, you got Marino, you got Montana, you got all those guys. Those guys move to the other end of the spectrum, and you can see how much they make today and how much everybody else makes, and you can see where that takes place. But here's the thing. Today's a due day. I heard Patrick Mahomes say something the other day, and I said, oh, okay, Patrick. He said, I don't know what is a problem with people that want to downplay black quarterbacks, African-American quarterbacks. For this thing to go where it needs to go, you're going to need the Patrick Mahomes of the world. You are going to need the guys that's why I'm so defensive when they start putting little stuff in there about Kyler Murray don't want to study. And you don't diminish and dumb down what I'm doing here. Mm-hmm. That's a part of the game plan here as well. But if you don't have that guy, those guys, those quarterbacks want to fight, it's not going to work. It don't work. It don't work.
Here's the other thing, though. In basketball, you make 90% of your money off the court. So this is not true in football. So when you talk about the Jordans, when you talk about the LeBron ain't a billionaire because he played basketball.
That's only a handful.
He don't make that much playing basketball.
A handful of guys,
that's just a handful of people.
But there's always going to be the guys that we need to speak up is a handful of guys.
Most of the people are going to make their money from their paychecks, right? Yeah. And the select few that get a little kibbles and bits on the side, some may get a little bit more than others. It's a minuscule number. The fact of the matter is, I'll keep going back to this. It is about leadership at the top. It's about willing not to sell your next guy out, right? And we're going to go down this road together. Because once you leverage that, the NFL has to respond to that, right? If they think that you will, I tell you what, Leroy, let them all walk out the training camp today.
Well,
just the threat that no games were going on here.
Let's move the conversation forward.
They bluff.
Let's move it forward. What do we do now? We are here. The NFL Players Association is what it is. Leroy, What do you see as being something that moving forward the league is going to do? Do you think the Players Association has any tools in its bag to basically get anything for its client? Where do you think it goes from here?
First of all, I think the players are going to have some questions for DeMaurice Smith.
Absolutely.
And that conversation is going to be about the give and take of the negotiations. And if I were a player, I'd ask him this. Going into the last CBA, the issue that we had was Roger Goodell having the power of being the judge and the jury, right? That was the biggest, the biggest thing with the last CBA. It then went to, after the CBA was done, oh, we have an arbiter, there's going to be an arbiter, we're not going to have to deal with that. Then we start getting these situations, we get this situation. And I want to say, is this the first situation since the new CBA?
Yes.
Okay. Then we find out that there's an appeal process and Roger Goodell hands the appeal process. And I'm like, wait a minute. We went into this last CBA wanting to get it out of his hands. And it's not, and let's be clear, it's not so that guys don't get penalized or punished for anything that they've done. So I'm not saying that. But I am saying
here, let me jump in here because they this thing has got me running, like they say down south, this thing got me running hot. Right? I'm gonna just tell you here. So let's talk about this Players Association, because we're gonna get off of this, right? Because it's irking me to the nth degree. So when I talk about leadership, and this is not to diminish any of these guys. I just told you who was at the head of the NBA Players Association, right? So we already know DeMaurice Smith is the head of the Players Association.
Yep.
But let's talk about the board, the officers. The officers are the ones that carry the weight, that lead the train forward, right? Let's see. The president, J.C. Tretter. If I went out in the streets, nobody would know who he is, right?
They would in Cleveland.
No, only in Cleveland. Only in Cleveland. Let's go to the vice, Calais Campbell.
I know who he is.
Do you know who he is?
He's a defensive lineman. It's starting off bad. Offensive lineman and defensive
Hold on.
lineman. No faces.
So if we
go ahead.
If we go to the public, they're not going to know.
They don't know.
Unless you're in that city.
They don't know.
Let me go to the next one. Austin Eckler.
Okay. That's the fantasy guy.
Keep coming.
Running back for the Chargers.
Ryan Kelly.
No glue.
Play center for the Colts.
Another center.
Alex Max.
Another center. How many centers do you want?
Hold it. Jason McCourty.
He retired.
Brandon McManus.
That's the kicker for the Broncos.
Thomas Morstead.
I think he's a kicker for the Saints.
Jalen Reeves-Maybin.
He got a hyphenated name. I don't know him.
Here's the first name I know.
That's all I know.
Here's the first name I know. Richard Sherman.
Hey.
All right, there we go.
And Richard
there we go.
He's on foul.
Here, our man from Ohio State, Michael Thomas, is there.
Mike on the board.
Reading this thing here.
We making some moves.
That's it. Here. But again, when I get to it, is this.
See that, Steve? Go Bucks.
I'm gonna need the filet mignon to be at the top of the ticket, right? Leading the way, because that's the only thing the people in the office up there respect. So if Brady them not there, and I'm just saying Brady because he's Brady, right? Brady's got a responsibility to the people behind him. He getting peeled off 345 to be on TV.
And he gonna get it. He gonna get it regardless.
He gonna get it regardless.
He definitely getting it regardless.
So it don't matter what you gotta have those people.
If you don't have Brady and Brady-like people at the top, right? Seeing what Leroy just said, right? That's how you have to meet that. And no disrespect to these other dudes.
Give me a Matt Ryan. Give me a Matt Ryan. Can I get Andrew Luck back in here?
Top of the ticket.
And Brad, to your point about Tom Brady, if anybody should be leery of the way the league dispenses justice, it should be Tom Brady. He went through this with Deflategate. Remember, guys, I think everybody forgets what a big deal that was. The dude let out some air in the footballs, for crying out loud. And if you compared his stats in the first half to the second half, when the change was made, he was actually better when he was using the balls that were legal. And the league made this huge deal out of it. Oh, my God, the Patriots are cheating. The air in the football is off by 3 PSI. And most guys, when they feel it, couldn't even tell the difference. And you think that he would get out in front of this train and say, yeah, man, this whole sham of dispensing justice is a joke. We need to change that. Nothing.
Nah, because they got some kibbles and bits. They gave him some kibbles and bits.
I mean, he on that train. Like, let's be clear. Like, come on now. You got to understand, these people go to the same cookouts, the same christenings, the same showers, the same golf outings. Like, let's be clear. He is right up underneath them. It's him, Aaron Rodgers. We need to let Aaron Rodgers stay at home. We don't want him negotiating on y'all behalf. That's not a good
and I hear
psychedelic
some of these dudes don't even have to negotiate. You just need the face and the front, right? Now, the head of the union, Jamar Smith, he got to do his job. See, we would relieve him of duty. He'd be relieved. I mean, after this little fiasco here goes down here, he out.
He can't get his 2.9.
Yeah, I will say this. We'll move along. There is camp. There is some football here. We do talk football sometimes here. Leroy, I've been saying for so long, and I want to get Jay's thought on this too. These receivers, Jakeem Grant, gone for Achilles heel. They just signed him to a 3-year deal. Special teams player, punt return, kick return. You just look at the injuries that we've had so far. David Bell's been out some time. Anthony Schwartz been time. Isaiah Weston is gone for the year with ACL. Jakeem Grant is gone for a year with Achilles heel.
Mike Woods got a hamstring.
Mike Woods got a hamstring, going to be out multiple weeks. And on top of that, Amari Cooper to miss some time. We've been sitting here, me and Brad been trying to pound on this table for weeks. Is it just they just feel like we just not going to do nothing? Or what's the meaning behind not having no urgency about the receiver position?
Because sometimes you can't make a decision just to make a decision. It's got to be the right decision. There'll be players available. I tell you what. I don't want to suggest nothing, but I tell you who got.
Leroy don't want to suggest. But if you're gonna do it,
you're talking to me.
I'm gonna tell you who got a full room of receivers. The Miami Dolphins.
They sure do.
And they got guys complaining about not getting some opportunities. And hey, all it takes is a phone call. We can work something out.
Hey, Leroy,
you know what I'm saying?
I put you in contact with AB, man. Come on now.
hey, we got Preston Williams, right? He's been known to go ahead on and catch a ball or two. You know, y'all can't have none of the speed though. I'm more than sure they so excited. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. You know how sometimes y'all go to the first day of camp and you talk to a coach and they're excited about one thing?
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel is so excited about everybody being fast. Like, that's it. We are fast. That's all he's talking about, right? You got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. You got Raheem Mostert.
Chase Edmonds.
All burners. I'm talking about 4-3 guys.
Cedric Wilson.
They got Wilson too?
Cedric Wilson there.
Yeah. So
y'all need to give up something.
Hey, I don't want to stir nothing up, but on my show, I have proposed a trade with my dear Cleveland Browns.
Oh Lord.
What's your trade?
Now,
what's the trade?
We'll send you Preston Williams and a 4th rounder for Kareem Hunt.
No.
He's going to try to fleece us.
What's the fleece us?
The fleecing of America?
We got to play the Miami Dolphins.
Wait. Would you like to know my explanation?
Yes.
Okay, please. Michigan Logic.
I would not. From a Browns perspective,
it's a team up north stuff.
If I had not seen what Dearness Johnson did last year, no chance. No chance.
Okay.
I love me some Kareem Hunt. Believe me when I tell you.
We can't get Cedric Wilson.
I have spent part of my career as Kareem Hunt.
Okay, right.
So I know what he's going through also.
Right.
Okay, I understand it.
Yeah, that's true.
The Browns don't have any wide receivers, and you don't want to go into this year with Deshaun Watson and no receivers.
Wait a minute. So, Leroy, you telling me we gonna give up one of our X factors for Preston Williams? Are you crazy?
And a fourth rounder. No, because wait, keep in mind. Wait. Hold on. The reason why you have to do it this way, is because when you bring him in, you got to give him a contract.
I'd rather take the Roquan Smith trade if that's the case.
Yeah, give me the linebacker from Chicago.
I take the Chicago linebacker if we're going to trade Kareem Hunt for 1 year.
But they got a running back in Chicago.
This is the thing. You know why I don't fret about the wide receiver position? Because they got a veteran in mind. And that veteran, they done probably reached out to that veteran and said, we have interest in bringing you in. That veteran told him.
Yeah, but that was my first time.
I'm not coming in for camp. I come in towards the end. I'm not doing no training camp. So they know who they want already, but they not bringing them in.
That was my first comments. Is that they not just going to do something to do it. They probably have a plan.
Oh, they got one.
And it's just not done. It's just not done yet. Oh, well, yeah.
Ain't no vet doing no camp. I'm telling you right now.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you what. I need y'all to come back.
It was hot.
We come back with another. I need you to come back with another trade, Leroy. Give me a fifth. On top of that, 4th and 5th. Come on back. And Jay, listen. Next time when we get you on, you need to stop having all your Emmys out there, bro. Until you get us an Emmy on this show, you can't put that one up.
Hey. You know what? Tomorrow I'm going to bring all of them down here. I'm going to have a whole slew of them.
I can do Jay don't think I just got one.
Look at that flare. I appreciate y'all, man. Is they coming back on tomorrow or something?
Jay's back tomorrow.
Oh, Jay's back tomorrow.
I'm back tomorrow. Leroy, I'm trying to ease back into this life thing, you know?
Get you some good cardio
You got a softball game or something, Jay? You got a softball game, 50 and over? What are you doing?
No, you missed it at the top of the show, Leroy. So you know when you're sick and you're trying to convince yourself that you're better, and then you've got a game on the horizon, you're like, yeah, I'm good, I can go. I'm in game day mode right now, okay? I'm in game day mode. I'm telling myself I am going to pitch a game for the St. Paul Saints tonight. You know, that's one of my minor league teams.
What's your playlist?
So I'm trying to will my –
Yeah, you up out of here.
They up 10 minutes, and I'll probably have a 911 call shortly after I do that.
You got to have a game day playlist.
I love y'all.
Whatever get you going.
Come on, G.
Y'all gonna get some money, but y'all not gonna get no money right here. McNuggets, we gotta go. Get them off the sticks. Get them off the sticks. They got to go.
They got to go home, but they got to get up out of here.
It's last call for alcohol, McNuggets. Let's keep it going.
Man, Leroy gave us Ann Arbor trade.
Yeah, go Bucks. Go Bucks.
He been
waiting on it.
Send that trade to Lansing. Lansing.
I'm not getting off the line without saying go blue. You go ahead.
Mikey, kick him off. Please.
We love Jay. We have a new UCSS guest. This is Zach Jackson from The Athletic, who's joining us now via the Gridiron Guys hotline. Zach, sorry for the extra minute delay there, but Leroy and Tyvis, they can't get out of here. Give it a little Ohio State, Michigan back and forth.
You ain't got no ties to the team up north, do you, Zach?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Got a wise
you
are.
You my boy. You
Zach,
my boy.
You from Youngstown?
I'm not. Frankly, guys, training camp is a grind, and when you're covering this Watson thing, I'm in the twilight zone every day. So I grabbed the first available shirt and really didn't even realize it was a Youngstown shirt until I sat down and looked at my stuff.
Zach, man, this Watson thing, I'm going to be honest, man. I don't really got no more bandwidth on it too much. At this point, Goodell comes out. Are we supposed to believe that this thing with Harvey is going to be anything other than what we think it is? They're going to come out, give him the year, and the Players Association to go to court against it. Is there anything new in this?
I have zero reason to think otherwise, Garrett. I think you're right there. I think there's a possibility of a settlement with a lot of conditions that possibly allows him to come back for December this year. But I think if you not even read through the lines, just look at what Roger Goodell said yesterday. We're just waiting on the announcement of a 1-year suspension, barring a total change.
And Zach, I say this, is just what he put out in the ethos yesterday. Just what he put out there should have the union up in arms. Because you just want some fairness in the process. And if it's fair and it plays out the way it plays out, it just plays out. Mm-hmm. But he's stacking the deck against you already. And there's nobody that seems to be pushing back. And they're stuck on this 12 game because the 12 game, this is the killer, the 12 game, they do not want him to go to Houston. No memo to the NFL. If it's not this year, he's going to Houston next year. The same people are going to be waiting for him in Houston. So you might as well get it over with.
Yeah, Brett, I just think the Players Association signed off on this, and I think a lot of kind of the waiting game from the outside and the mystery of this has been this is the first time that there's been a case go through this system that was collectively bargained 2 years ago. But the Players Association signed off on a process where the last word goes to the commissioner or his designee. So they really signed up for this. And the one thing that struck me is that she found him guilty of these multiple counts and only suspended him for 6 games. And so I was 0 bit surprised to see Roger Goodell come in and say, yeah, we have these 4 counts heavy enough. And again, we're all just waiting. So, as it relates to the Browns this week and them flying about 4 hours from now to Jacksonville, you'd like to know. And every day you would like to know as you go through practice where he's the first in every line, the quarterback, the first in every huddle. We're getting closer and closer. I think it's a month from tomorrow. It's inside 5 weeks, and the Browns play a real game. And so you need to get ready. I really don't think much training camp has been as usual. I think the guys have enough on their plates. I think the coaches are doing a good job.
Well, let me say this as we get Zach back on. One of the problems is that they're going to argue here, and right, Zach's absolutely correct. The Players Association ultimately signed off on this deal, right, and that's what's going to come back to bite them. Mm-hmm. The thing that they do have to their advantage is, now I won't say to their advantage. They're gonna, if they don't take the first plane smoking to Delaware or any other favorable position, just to get in court, the 2 things that they can argue is the notice. The lack of notice and the past practice, right? That's what they can argue.
Well, I'm asking Zach when he comes back
to the CB collective bargaining.
For me, like I don't
No, because the lack of notice and the past practice is basic labor law. We're not into the CBA, right? You going against the labor laws of this country.
Well,
right?
the labor laws also say
he innocent.
That if you got this, and I don't understand how you people keep skimming over this. If I'm named, if the Texans are named in a lawsuit,
and that's where I was about to go.
Like, how can you have 2 people named in the same lawsuit when you collectively bargain something? That's a contract. You are in breach of contract if you do not have fair and right standards. And I'd say this: they never even gave Kraft. They never even gave Kraft an investigation. They've never even investigated some of Jerry Jones' stuff. So my thing is, if you are listed in that contract and I'm listed in the contract, and I think everybody can understand this. If I go to work and we are part of a union and you fire Tyvis for being late, but then I come in late and I don't get fired. Matter of fact, I get a reward. Matter of fact, I get a raise.
Disparate treatment.
I can go to you and say, I want to see the records of how you handled Tyvis's situation. Did you talk to him? Did you call him on the phone? Did you figure it out? I want to know how it was, because what I can do is then I can say we are the same under the collectively bargain agreement, and you have to treat us the same. So if there is no investigation for the Texans, I'm confused how any judge, no matter what the collective bargaining agreement says, how could you say that is you not under contract?
You're arguing disparate treatment. That's what you're arguing.
That's exactly what I'm arguing. And you have to have some sort of answer to that. But one thing that we also have to do is we have to continue. So for every time they're playing this game in the public, though, right? Mm-hmm. They're playing it in the public. And one thing that I always got a problem with is don't get fleeced. if you at the top of the food chain, know what type of battle you in. Like, PR battles is easy to get into. Guess what? I thought Busby, to be truthful, he got into the battle, into the joust, right? And he got in after he left Texas. In Texas, he was losing. In Texas, he was taking L's.
Yeah.
He didn't get no indictments. People was like, this is nothing. All of a sudden, he waited out, sit out a little bit. He started leaking stuff out here. Now he tap dancing. Roger, you got an opportunity to do some things here to get back in and make sure you do the right thing. And Zach, really quickly, one thing that I always argue is, and I haven't got an answer from a lot of people, is where are the Houston Texans at in this? I don't understand how they can pay 30 people off and not have one word from Roger Goodell even acknowledging that.
Yeah, that's a fair question, Garrett. I think that might be down the road. But to me, it all goes to part of this, like, who knew this was coming? Why has the NFL been leaking since June that they wanted this suspension? Like, where hiring the player needed to do the full research, and it just looks like that the Browns did. So I think it's a fair question. I think there's holes in this process. But unfortunately, the Players Association signed off on this. And to me, the Browns have to know this before they or even beginning to be willing to give up what they gave up to go get Deshaun.
Zach, saying that Deshaun does get 12 or 17 games, what does the Browns do at quarterback? What do you think the best option is for them? Do they roll with Jacoby or do they look for somebody else?
Yeah, I think Jacoby's always been the clear plan A, but plan A is out the window in that scenario. And I think as I've looked at it, and I've looked at it extensively, Jimmy Garoppolo is the one that comes to mind, and I can support that. He's played in this offense. He's played in big games. He's not been asked to pull the team and carry the team. He's been asked to distribute the ball, throw off play action, make good decisions, right? His resume in that regard is pretty good. Now, why would the Browns be hesitant? It's that Jimmy makes a lot of money. Jimmy has an extensive injury history. But outside of this, you start as backups that have a little bit of starting experience, a little bit of pedigree. I mean, those teams need those guys because everybody needs a backup quarterback. Realistic options are few. And I think the Browns have always intended for Jacoby Brissett to be the week one quarterback. I think they've always intended to have Jacoby Brissett go and Josh Dobbs to maybe be the backup. But, assuming the announcement is what we all think it is and it comes soon, I think they owe it to the locker room to go after Jimmy Garoppolo. I really do.
Well, I'll say this, Zach, that to your point, the game has changed, right? And they're kind of hamstrung now because they're waiting for the league to give a decision on what they're going to do, and then as it relates to Watson and how Watson plays it out. So they're kind of caught in this. And I don't blame the Browns. The Browns were playing the rules that were before them. What they did not know that Goodell was holding the trump card and we're playing spades. He's holding it behind his back, right? And he said, you didn't know he was going to play it. You didn't think he was going to play it. Well, I am going to play it, right? Because if I'm thinking, they're thinking, we have a federal judge coming here to be arbitrating this case, right? It gives the NFL the basic clear off-ramp. I don't like it, but we collectively bargain this thing. We can all get off together, right? And it doesn't upset the Players Association. It doesn't really upset the owners because you can put it squarely on the arbiter, squarely. And even that wasn't good enough here, right? So now the Browns are playing this game, and now we got to decide now, are we going with Brissett, or are we going to get out in this market here? Because we do have a window. We got players. Mm-hmm. Are we going to let them just ride on the back of Brissett, or are we going to try to get in the game here? This is what it is. And it may cost you another 20-some-odd million to get in the game.
Yeah, I think they have to do it, guys. I mean, I really think we've seen over the last few days at camp some growth from the backup quarterbacks, some progress in terms of completing passes and it looking that way. But when you look at Jacoby Brissett's career, I mean, to think that he, over the course of even 7 or 8 games, let alone 17, is going to get this offense to where it needs to be. And why was this trade made? Because the quarterback position didn't deliver the way it needed to, right? Why were the Browns in this market to start with? They had a great running game last year. I think the offensive line certainly wasn't as good in last year as it was in 20, but they've invested in that position. They're bringing back, they feel like, the best defense they've had in decades. So the table is set. But to realistically think that Jacoby Brissett is going to win 12 games, give you a shot to win the division, give you a shot to be hot in January and have that magical month, I don't think that's realistic. And Brad, you're right. It's not just a 2-year window, but when you look at what's been constructed here, which players are in their prime, what they've built, and where they're trying to continue to build, it's this year and next year where if the Browns are whole, they can say they're a real AFC contender.
Yeah.
But without Deshaun Watson, to me, they're not even an AFC North contender.
Zach, when you look at it and say they want to go that route, Jimmy, has a decent number, a decent salary. Is this going to cost them more money, more picks? Do you think that the 49ers are going to be forced to release him because there isn't a market? What's the thought process and the best optimal possibility for getting Jimmy G? Is it waiting it out to see if the 49ers cut him, and in that way we don't have the assets and the money invested in him if we have to go trade for him?
Yeah, without knowing exactly how it goes, Garrett, I think it's favorable for the Browns. I think the Niners know they need to get rid of him by a certain day or they're on the hook for that salary. I think the Niners have very publicly acknowledged that they like Jimmy. They're moving on to Trey Lance. They're allowing Jimmy to do his work in their facility and around their team, just not with the team. They're willing to do this. It's only going to cost a third-day pick. Now, it will cost $24 million. There is some thought that either the Niners will pick up a small part of that or that Garoppolo will be playing for a reduced salary. For the Browns, they could roll that forward into a potential comp pick if Jimmy has a good year and goes and starts and signs a starters level deal somewhere else. And the other thing, too, guys, the Browns need all this rollover they've created because they're up against it for the cap next year because Watson's cap number is supposed to go from $10 million to $55 million.
Right.
Well, if he does the contract tolls and the cap number is only 10 next year, then all of a sudden they've found that money and they can easily afford Jimmy Garoppolo. I really don't think it would take more than a 5th-round pick. So maybe it's a 5th and a player. Maybe there's some other swaps there. But the Niners want to do this deal, and I've always thought all along, even though it's not plan A for the Browns, I thought we might where they're the only real suitor, and it becomes a little like the Carolina Baker Mayfield Browns thing, where the teams just get down to the details and say, let's get this done as efficiently as possible.
Zach, do you wish that the Browns didn't get rid of Baker Mayfield at this point?
That's a great question. I was not a Baker Mayfield fan. I appreciate the front office saying, we're here to win a Super Bowl, and we're not going to do it with this guy. I think it was deeper than that, but I think they had other avenues. So I think they did right. And I know when they got on that plane to Houston, and they had already filled and were willing to go to plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E, right? And maybe here we are on August 10th in that. But I truly don't think that the front office has many regrets. I can't say none. We don't know how this is going to work out, at least as it pertains to Baker Mayfield. And I think as they went from talking about this behind the scenes to get sign off and position themselves to maybe do this, I think along the way they were always comfortable with moving on from Baker despite having guaranteed his contract for this coming season.
Do you believe, looking at the totality of it, because you just said they were cool with moving on from Baker. They had it built in. For me, maybe see how you kind of pan out on this. I think that Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski and Jimmy Haslam, I think that they kind of were like, okay, push come to shove, he's going to be gone for a whole year. I think they kind of were like, okay, cool. They had to be, to me, they had to be okay with him not playing a year. And it's kind of the same reason why I don't think they're kind of panicking about it, because they don't even seem crazy to even go after Jimmy Garoppolo. I feel like they're just like, yeah, Jacoby Brissett will play. This is point A, and Deshaun Watson might be going a year. Am I crazy for thinking that?
I don't think you're crazy, Garrett. I think you can totally sell me on there's no panic and there was some sort of resignation or belief that this may happen. But we've been reporting for months that they didn't think it was going to be a year long. The expectation, not fully, but the belief was that he would get a suspension, that it would be resolved before training camp, and the suspension would go into October or at the latest November, and Deshaun Watson would be the quarterback of the Browns. That is what I believe. That's what we at The Athletic have believed for many months. And I don't think it's a complete disaster if he misses the year. I don't think it prevents the Browns from being an AFC contender a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. But you're talking about this team, this window, the optics, making this guy the face of your franchise, taking on all of this when you should just be getting ready for a season. that you've waited for, that you've worked for, that you've earned with your good decisions by developing these players. So I can't sit here and say it's another disaster and the Browns are in flames and they'll never recover from this, right? But to give away this season, and it may not go that way, but it probably, there's regrets along the way, and there were mistakes made absolutely throughout the process.
So I'll say this, if the Browns are going to make a move on Garoppolo, they got to make a decision here. The other thing, Zach, we just have to ask you about this. The receivers. I mean, we down to the crumbs now, right? We down to people dropping like flies. I asked him the other day, Zach. I said, "Y'all got T.O.'s number? Where he at? Is he around somewhere?"
Brandon Marshall, get one of them dudes.
They doing all these podcasts. Anybody got any juice left in the tank?
The Chiefs are going to cut Josh Gordon. Maybe they can bring him back.
Wow. Wouldn't that be something?
No, it's not going to happen. But, this was always a concern. And the hope was that Peoples-Jones would take a next step. He might. That Anthony Schwartz would take a big step. We'll see. That David Bell would immediately play a role underneath, moving the chains. They like David Bell. They didn't want David Bell to miss 2 weeks training camp because he is a rookie. But part of the reason they picked him is they thought he was savvier than most rookies. They think he can be a Jarvis Landry type player. I'm not making that comparison to Jarvis, who blocked and who led and who did all of these things, but a guy who can get open underneath and be productive for you right away. So, frankly, right now, in judging the quarterbacks at camp, Amari's missed a couple of days. David Bell missed 2 weeks. Schwartz missed a week and a half. They haven't had the guys, and that's hard. But yes, if you're looking outside of quarterback and a list of strengths for the Browns and a list of concerns for the Browns, it's way on the list of concerns. And if you want to say it's at the top right now on August 10th, I wouldn't argue with that.
Zach, we appreciate you coming on, dropping some Deshaun Watson stuff on us. Hopefully we can get you back in there. And next time we'll come on, we didn't hold you to the fire. We was going to ask you who was going to win the division. We'll come back and ask you that when you get back.
All right, sounds good, guys. Talk to you soon.
All right, Zach, appreciate it. Zach Jackson of The Athletic, man. Shout out to him. He didn't sound like he's starting to, part of that group that wants Garoppolo. The Garoppolo train is moving.
Oh, really?
The train.
Really? I've only been saying it since the end of. You know what? The first time I said it was Christmas Day, watching that Packers game.
Right.
I was like the first time I was like, I think Jimmy G would do really well in this offense due to the fact that it's the style of play and what he'll be asked to do similar to the same things he's did in San Fran, and our team is just kind of schemed up the same way that San Fran is. So I can see it working. But this next topic that's coming up, listen,
this right up your alley,
and we are going to get to it, but it started on the internet, and if it starts on the internet, it's brought to you by PCC Airfoils. Are you looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Mentor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up. Plus, get full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. So I'm going to set this up for you guys.
Go ahead.
If you've been living under a rock, you may not have seen what Jamar Chase said yesterday on the Pivot podcast regarding Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, and the rest of the Browns DB. So, Steve, let's take the quote, and I'll read it to you in the most PG way possible. This is Jamar Chase talking to Ryan Clark on the Pivot podcast. He said, quote, "It's game time when we see them. It's just on site, that's it. Not just because Cleveland talked the most, beep. Denzel Ward did his thing. Same for Greg Newsome. I don't think he elite, but they just talk crazy." So Tyvis sent that to the group chat yesterday. A few minutes later,
what'd they say?
We saw Greg Newsome respond. And we're going to pull that up. We got the Newsome tag board 48. It's coming for you. Greg Newsome took a little offense to that because Jamar Chase said he may not be elite. Well, let's take it, Steve. Just the eye emojis.
On site is what that
On site.
That's what that means. Laugh at it.
Tyvus, from here you take it, my friend.
I need time to break down like explain the lingo to me.
Oh, this is spicy. This is what I'm talking. This had me up. Oh, I was excited. I'm talking about last night I went to sleep.
Yeah, right.
Look, it put me back in that mode. Listen, you get that. Listen, the receivers get to chirping like that. Jamar Chase had an unbelievable season as a rookie last year. And to get called out like that by a DB, it's time. You gotta let them hang sometimes. You gotta. It's time. If you're gonna be successful in this NFL league, you gotta let them hang. So that's what my boy Sherb told me. You gotta let them hang sometimes. And to see G New respond the way he did, and we didn't even get Denzel's response on his Instagram, but Denzel basically laughed it off and said it's whatever. Like, what's up? So
Denzel said, I'm rich.
Denzel, like, what's up? Like, you ain't gonna be talking about us like that. It's going down. So that Halloween game just became a must-see TV.
Well, this is what I like. We get back to Cincinnati, Cleveland.
Listen.
McNuggets, pull up that Sam White's quote for me. What Sam White said about Cleveland, Cincinnati. We're gonna get back to my era here.
Spicy. What Jamar Chase said?
No. Sam White's those close to the Bengals.
I'll find it. Yeah, give me 1 sec.
So, but I will tell you this though, right? And don't get me wrong. I like Jamar Chase.
Oh, I do too.
I love his little dance, right? That's slick, right? Yeah. He's skilled. But I tell you what, he from down the Bayou area. Well, guess what? You done got it lit up here. You'll come up here, we're gonna get you some gumbo. Yes, we are. But it ain't gonna have no crawfish in it. It's gonna have some Lake Erie perch. We'll be right here waiting for you. Waiting right here for you. So you can get a little greedy.
The thing that got me most excited about it though is showing that they young, but they like feisty, like they with it, like they with the stuff, and that's what you need out of your defense. Like it don't matter who it is. Yeah, we respect what you did last season, but that don't mean nothing. And to be able to talk trash like that, you got to back it up on game day. So we're going to see the absolute best play out of everybody, out of Jamar, G New, and Denzel, because you done put it out there for the world to see, and you got to show up and show out now.
And I look at it like this. You take a look at the Bengals, and for all that they've done, right? They got to the playoffs last year, had a crazy run through the playoffs. They got to the Super Bowl. They was close in that game. Jamar Chase had a tremendous year. They got probably the best receivers almost in the AFC as far as T. Higgins, him, and Tyler Boyd. Mm-hmm. I'll say this. Every time they play the Browns, they get smoked. They don't play well. And Jamar Chase dropped a lot of balls in that game. He dropped a few. And fumbled. Denzel Ward had a pick six in that game. And then, they lost the last game of the year. Granted, they already had everything locked up, and he wasn't playing. He got the record. But go back to the prior to that. Joe Burrow doesn't traditionally play that well against the Cleveland Browns. And I think you mentioned one thing that I like to see it get back to. I like to see it get back to in the 80s, there was a time period where the Bengals and the Browns were two premier-type organizations, premier quarterbacks, was winning, putting points on the board. And so often we see the Steelers and the Ravens mentioned in that top echelon, and that's the first place they go. Now we're starting to see the rivalry come back because actually you got the Bengals that are doing well, and now the Browns are doing well. So that's what I like to see.
Well, the other thing I saw in this whole back and forth was this. You just came out the Super Bowl. Why are you worried about little old Cleveland? Cleveland ain't been on nobody's radar.
You know why?
Exactly why. Because it's on and popping now. It's on and popping now.
He know he didn't play well. He got something to prove.
The other thing is they know this, Tyvus. Cleveland holding something over here.
Yeah.
They holding something
He ain't beat him. He's been in the league for a year and lost twice to him. What you got, Big Nuggets?
You guys know I'm the numbers guy. I love numbers. Just want to throw some numbers out for you real quick. In his rookie season, Jamar Chase had 81 catches, 1,455 yards, 13 touchdowns. Take it full, Steve. Against the Browns in 2 games. We threw this up a second ago. 17 targets, 8 receptions, and 75 yards in 2 games. He averaged nearly 100 yards per game. He averaged over 100 yards per game in the 15 games he played against teams not Cleveland. Against Cleveland, 34.5 yards per game. I don't know why he's talking smack about Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome. They did a pretty damn good job holding him down last year.
I'm gonna tell you right now
because he big money.
He cleaned it up. He said Denzel Ward and Greg New did their thing, but you see, he didn't say Denzel wasn't elite. He said G New he didn't think was elite because he know what we do at those. You know what the Buckeyes do, man. I wanted to see that championship game, man.
I like the fact. See, I'm not one of them dudes. I ain't never been a dude to hand the ball back to the ref. I don't want none of my receivers like that. If you got a receiver that hand the ball back to the ref, he must not be that nice because he must not think he getting back there or it was luck. Like no, I like a flashy receiver that can catch the ball. Now, and I'm glad they did something, and I actually like the fact that the Bengals got Jamar Chase and he did what he did. So we can stop that stupid old adage that I'm going to draft the offensive tackle every year. Y'all people is fools. You fools. You think because somebody is big and you ain't never seen what he do or play, you think that's the safest person in the draft. Why is it always the safest pick in the draft as a tackle? Actually, that's the most risky pick because don't nobody know what people do up front. You just be like, he's big. Mel Kiper and McShay said it. I'm going to take Penei Sewell over Jamar. You fools. Jamar Chase had a half of 3,000 yards up in here, and now all of a sudden you see what people doing. We got to get us one of them guys take the top off.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson. They got Garrett Wilson and Olavi.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
And if Smith and Jigba could have came out, he'd have been a first-round pick. Everybody want a receiver now.
I'm just saying, James Laurinaitis made a quote back when they took Jamar Chase. He said, as a defense, I've never, ever been scared or had the game prep for an offensive tackle.
Never.
But I have been up nights worrying about how we going to stop a wide receiver.
Yeah.
That right there, when he said that, I said, that is profound. I ain't never feared no offensive tackle.
And when he was, and I love the fact that even Joe Burrow, and this just goes to show you, when you got a dude like that, that's why I was so doggone mad all them years we sat up in here. Odell Beckham Jr., I'm sorry. OBJ, I know you at home. You're dealing with your knee, but we wasted you, dog. We wasted you. We used you up. We had you running bum routes. You didn't even get no targets. The dude couldn't even get you to rock. I'm sorry. I apologize on the behalf of Cleveland. And if you really want to come back, I know you're going to be back November. We ain't got no receiver still. Look, we still ain't doing it, right? If you want to come on back, let's get together.
Hey.
Hit me up, and come on, let's do this thing right. Because I'm sorry you had to see Jamar Chase get the routes you used to get. He used to just throw it up to him. Go get it.
Well,
Kevin
Stefanski is on record saying he is not opposed to having Odell come back.
Hey, man, come on. I'll start that campaign right now. I'll tell you what. I look at it like this. I will say this about Greg Newsome in the DBs. Hey, Jamar Chase, you might not even be seeing Greg Newsome like that. You might have A.J. Green on you or one of them big corners. They got 6'4" corners down here now all of a sudden. They got 6'4" outside linebacker corners. They tackle, they do all of that.
I don't know. They might, for those games, they might do it where they might shadow Denzel, check him, or G. New. If G. New really want to show that he arrived, I'm going to Joe Wood. Hey, G. New, if you watching this show, Halloween, you going to Joe Wood. I want that assignment. Wherever he at, I'm at.
He had a couple nice breakups.
Don't worry about nothing else. We in man all game. Wherever he go, I go.
Lockdown.
That's if you want to get that bag. That's how you get that bag right there.
We got to touch on one more Browns training camp story before we talk a little first-place Guardians, but Jakeem Grant went down with an Achilles injury yesterday. Steve, we can take the tag board. He's officially been placed on injury reserve. The All-Pro returner season is done. These are his numbers throughout his career: 7 reception touchdowns, 6 return touchdowns. How big of a loss is this for the Browns, who, A, are thin at receiver anyway, but B, this dude's electric in the return game. Yeah. Maybe the best they've had since Josh Cribbs.
Hurt a lot, bro.
That
hurt, bro. You talk about it. There was emphasis in the offseason of getting that special teams together. They draft Cade York. They go get this young man, Jakeem Grant, and he's a guy that can not only give you stuff in special teams, punt return, kick return, he can also give you something underneath, whether it's going to run into jet sweeps or doing things like that with the football. I think you get him space, running little quick screens, bubble tunnel screens. It hurts. But I tell you what, the guy that stands to get the most from this, and I didn't know that they was going to be able to keep 5 running backs. it looks like Demetric Felton is on the squad. He didn't punch his ticket. Not only the fact that you can play running back, not only the fact that you can play receiver, and the receivers are out right now. So he's almost the third receiver right now.
Yeah.
And he's going to get that. Plus, he's going to get some kick return love now, too, on top of that. So it's terrible, but like I said, Demetric Felton, one dude up. Come on, we got to get ready to go.
So I agree with that wholeheartedly right there. And I think, it was hard. Demetric Felton was last year to me was probably the coldest returner that never got any return.
None.
Like you could tell when he got the ball, he had moves, but the return team was so bad that he had to dang near dodge 11 people, so you never really got a chance.
That's why my eyebrows are raised like, what happened?
I think they really, because last year, we don't even talk about this. The special teams last year for the Browns was horrible.
Trash.
Like it had to be amongst one of the worst special teams in the league last year. If they really put an emphasis on that, they do. I think Felton is electric enough to make some returns happen. They have to do a better job of getting some punt return protection, and they have to do better blocking on kick return. I hate KOR. Everybody in the NFL hates KOR, but you got to do it. If you got a guy that you truly – no, seriously.
No,
if you got to –
because I know he was on all the special teams.
First,
everyone.
How about this? Front line, center. So I had the fourth string running back and the linebacker that ain't playing. That's who I had to block. So I hated it. The best thing I seen was the returners do this right here because it means that they weren't returning. But what I will say –
you had to grunt work.
Man, come on, yeah. Oh, they did me that. They like, you 6'3", 213? Oh, you good. You can handle that.
Oh, yeah, you got her.
But the thing that inspires a kickoff return and a punt return team is if you got a guy back there that can take it to the house, that you know can take it to the house, I'm going to block a little bit harder for sure because I want to be a guy that say, I'm the block that sprung him free. So, Felton, you got to show it in practice, maybe get in that preseason game, get wiggly a couple of times, show everybody you can take it to the house. One time is all it takes to have people believe. One time.
So go back to my question before when I said he was dropping like flies.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on in the practice? Right? I mean, what is going on
He's
here?
not getting hit.
What is going on here? What are we doing in the practice here?
He was doing a one-on-one route, and they threw him a back shoulder fade,
let me
caught the ball
ask
and he went down.
What are the receivers doing in practice? Because they seem to be the only ones falling down like flies.
Achilles is something that's a freak accident.
That's why
that ain't really no.
I half tore my Achilles heel, and I just remember like something told me, and I wasn't even doing that. I was getting out of the shower. I was just in there thinking about it. Hey, Kobe Bryant tore his Achilles heel. These are world-class athletes.
Shot 2 free throws.
Dominique Wilkins tore his. I'm sitting here thinking like, I ain't never playing nothing again. I ain't never hooping. I ain't never running fast.
But it's just not the Achilles. You got hamstrings. You got a abundance. It's just an abundance of injuries happening here. So again, I always feel like
knees.
When we're going back, we're ramping people up, right? Slowly, right? And some people, depending on who you are, you get to sit it out. I don't care if you're young or not. We got to bring you back. But we dropping like flies here, and I'm like, we're getting closer here.
And here's the thing. And here's the thing I think about it. No, for real. I'm serious. I look at it like this, and I ain't trying to ring no alarm. Here's the problem. We done already said Jacoby Brissett has some limitations. We've already admitted that. We clear about that.
Making it worse.
Now, how is it that you gonna put him out there if it's 3rd and 7 and it's a Jacoby Brissett slant to Anthony Schwartz? Do you have any belief? I got about a 52% chance in my mind that's going to either be completed. Anthony Schwartz, he got to run the right route. He got to get off press coverage.
Depends on where he's lined up.
Thank you.
Where is he lined up at?
Who was your boy in practice that they couldn't get off press coverage?
Donovan Peoples-Jones couldn't get off press coverage.
He's a big body.
Tell this story. What happened?
Man, this dude came up out of here. He was looking like Scooby.
Who was on him?
Man, I don't even know who was on him. That was a problem because I was splash shadowing him because he was the only receiver out there. Cooper was gone. He got out this break. He looked like Scooby-Doo. In one spot.
He's a big body though.
But it's an out. All it is a speed out.
So he couldn't get off the line.
He was getting locked up. They was wax on, wax off. I'm like, bro, He's up in you. They said, hey, man.
They put him to the side.
Put him to the side. Coach said, hey, bro. Hey, man.
Get out the game.
Come on, let me talk to you real quick.
Come here, let me let you for
That is not, first of all, why your steps off the line? He had 18 false steps. He was all up underneath his body. Then he got rerouted. It looked like he ran a dig and then tried to run it out. I'm like, bro, if that timing is already gone, that ball is already thrown. You know that's a timing route.
Did they scream?
What'd you say?
Did the coach scream?
Oh, no, he just hit him like this. He already knew what it was. He grabbed him by the helmet. Come here, let me tell you something. Whispered in his helmet. Let me tell you something. You terrible right now.
Hold on.
You kind of trash.
This DPJ is what, 3rd year in the league? He should be. That's the problem.
He's a #1 receiver in high school, bro.
I mean, listen, he's a big body receiver. So
did he do anything against y'all?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Yeah, against Michigan? Michigan on State? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Highly doubt it. They didn't win, so they highly doubt it.
Want his career numbers, G. Bush?
Huh?
Yeah. Oh, wait, you talking about his college numbers?
I'll get his college in a sec, but this is his pro numbers. This is his 3rd year in the league.
Okay.
Through 2 years, he's been targeted 78 times.
Okay.
Has 48 receptions, 901 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He's been very average. Very average.
Let's not discredit him fully.
I ain't gonna kill him.
He has showed us some flashes, and he showed us some incompetence
and that's the
too,
thing,
right? So,
that's all it's been.
But you are now at a point in your career. This is a make or breaker.
We gotta have.
So this is year 3.
Right.
He didn't go first round, so next year is his contract year.
But they say
he got to show something.
In sports, they say your 3rd year is probably that's your year of determination.
No, they say
unless you came out like you're an 18-year-old, 17-year-old. If you came out of college after
well, they say the biggest growth you're supposed to take is year 1 to year 2. And, I mean, he showed flashes. It's just a consistent basis.
We beyond flashes now because we got a lot of riding.
Well, he ain't got no – he has to be that guy.
I mean, because to me, if you look at from top down to top, like you just look at you got Amari Cooper, and then they got that and just chilled. I'm cool. We got all the rest of these. And if you got – to me, I look at Schwartz, and to me, he's the biggest question mark because he's fast, but sometimes I don't see it. You know, Tyvus he don't play that fast. You know how somebody can be big?
He's 4'3", but he play like he's 4'7".
Yeah, and why is that? Like, why can you get some receivers that when they run
paralysis by analysis? You're too busy thinking about what you're gonna do. Is he a natural wide receiver?
He's a track athlete
first. Okay, see, so he's still trying to learn some stuff.
He played in the Gus Malzahn playbook. That Gus Malzahn playbook is a lot of this.
Well, if he doesn't, any player that doesn't,
I don't want to see that ain't you can't be a first round pick doing this the whole.
He wasn't a first round pick, but any player that doesn't play fast is usually thinking about something. And I remember when. I sent the clip about a week or 2 ago, and I said, G. New should be all over this route by DPJ because he clearly counting his steps. It's just kind of like it's new to them, or it's like at this point you should know it's boom, 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 bam. It should be quick.
So like, okay, I kind of compare it to this, and you tell me like, there's a difference between like say somebody is like, okay, playing in space is different.
Yeah.
If you somebody's like you a defensive end, okay, just drop over there. Whoa, I don't have no landmarks.
Yeah.
I don't have depth perception. He's like, but your landmark is right outside the hash mark, and it's
10 to 12 years outside the hash mark.
And you're like, whoa, I have no frame of reference for that. Like, and they're like, you got to get depth, son. Get some depth, and I'm like, what do you mean get deep? Like pause. Okay, Paul, like what you mean, coach? And that's the thing. Like, if you're a defensive back and you playing, y'all run so many coverages, you just know where to run on the cover 3. You just know.
You should know where your help is, especially in cover 3.
Right.
Like if it's something short, I got a buzzer that's coming out. If he running the inside route, I need to stay over top because the hookers is coming. He should run right into the hooker. Like it's a lot of spots that you like. I should know when to pick and choose. But that route in particular, he ran a bang 8, which anybody don't know what a bang 8 is. Is when the receiver reduces his split. He comes at you on the outside angle and about his 7th step, he cuts it in, and the quarterback is taught to do this, play action in front, get that linebacker step on, boom, throw the ball right behind his head. That's the bang 8. And if I'm G. New, And I'm looking at it, first of all, on the reduced split, he's not going deep. If you're going off of tendencies, I'm giving y'all some classified stuff. If it's a reduced split, the receiver's 9 times out of 10 not going deep. I'm sitting on the out or the inward breaking route. In this case, it's the bang A, and I'm driving and I'm making that play. But he was kind of delayed, and he let him catch it, and I was just frustrated.
McNuggets, have you ever caught a bang A?
I have not caught. I played football 1 year of my life. I played left tackle. I got destroyed. I was like 4'2", 38 pounds.
Whoa!
It was second grade.
You done gave up all kind. You gave up a career.
We got a lot to get to before we end up. I'll tell the story tomorrow. My football
all right, come on.
I got your DPJ stats versus Ohio State. 10 catches in 2 games, 129 yards and a touchdown. So he was decent against Ohio State, but nothing spectacular.
Okay.
Speaking of spectacular, how about those Guardians? Somehow, somewhat, in the most improbable fashion of all time, the Cleveland Guardians, with less than 60 games to play, are tied for first place in the AL Central.
Come on, talk about it now.
How?
What you mean, how? You know where they from? Listen, put the camera on me.
Yeah, get the camera
Put the camera on me, man. It's the thing about being in Cleveland and being from Cleveland. One thing we know how to do. Look, this is funny. One thing we know how to do is we know how to make $1 out of 15 cents, all right? If you give us something and say, listen, you got to make something happen. They going to find a way to make it happen. The Guardians, you can't name the starting lineup. Nobody can. But the thing is, they got an opportunity and they see something. They going to make this city believe. And that's what's going on right now with the Guardians. It's just overcoming adversity is what I see.
If you don't know what's going on right now.
You don't know what's going on?
Mike Polk came up with something. We've done some research, and Mike Polk came up with the research that said our numbers dip on the streams and viewership when we talk about the Guardians. So what we're going to do to make sure everything stays up is we're going to put at the bottom of your screen in the lower third.
I forgot about it.
In the lower third.
What is this?
We're going to put up Deshaun Watson numbers and statistics for you just to keep you enthralled.
It's a very interesting stats down there.
It's about his life. It's about his everything. So we do got Deshaun Watson coverage at the bottom. This fulfills 2 things: Guardians, and we get that viewership for the Watson people. Shout out to
Mike Polk's a genius, man.
He's a genius for this.
He's really
Mike Polk is a genius.
You know, it's beautiful.
Oh my God.
He said, what is this?
So what were you saying, Tyvis?
I'm like,
What you got?
I was basically saying, man, they from Cleveland and they adopted the mentality from Cleveland. If you're from Cleveland, you know how to make $1 out of 15 cents because we ain't nothing in this city given. Everything is earned. And they just taking that mantra and they making it happen. Right now, they got a chance to punch their ticket to them playoffs and make this city believe. And I think they're doing a great job of taking advantage of that. They're going against the Tigers. They should be able to outright have first place. I mean, like I say, the lineup is shaky because we don't know who it is, but they figure it out.
What a good thing is here, and
they show us some fight. The city got to be behind that.
And Tyvis is correct. He and I were, I think, the only 2 on the set that were talking about when Bull was like, and Bull wanted to make a move. We were like, nah, let's not make a move. I said, sometimes you have to trust that the management organization may know a little bit more than you do because they're seeing these players not every day, but they've been watching them since they've been 16, 17 years old, a lot of them. So I wanted to look at G over here like, let me just tell you. So the good thing is here, I think Mikey, and I think in a week or 2 we're having Neil Weiss from the vice president of the Guardians on set. So he's going to talk about the Cleveland Progressive Field renovation, but also talk about the strategy with the Cleveland Indians, because I had a conversation with him the other day. He was like, listen, let me tell you, we're playing a game here we see something. We know when we think that this is going to peak, right? Irrespective of where we are right now in the moment, some people want us to move right now. We have a plan in place. And so I want to hear that, and I want everybody to hear that. I know that people like G and Bull want them to jump off the cliff right now. I pointed to this yesterday. San Diego jumps off the thing and grabs Soto. I don't think they've won a game since Soto been there. Have they, Mikey?
Steve,
I think they won 1. I think they like 1-6.
Steve, roll them facts again. It's one in there particular.
Hold on. before you run those, Steve, I'm not gonna let you discredit the Guardians with the Deshaun Watson facts at the bottom.
No, it's a good fact. Did you know his real name was Derek?
Listen, we talk about
I had no idea.
We know the first place
I
Guardians.
would have never known.
Stop talking about it.
I never would have known that his first name was Derek if I hadn't seen this. This is some good information.
This is what happens. This is what happens when you don't got no name brand recognition. They do you like this. They put stuff at the bottom of your screens. At the end of the day, listen, the Guardians, I'll tell you what, the Guardians, y'all are cool, right? So, but you gotta at least do something like this. You see the difference between? Let me show
Steve.
You see the difference between these guys right here. You see these guys in the Guardians because they going for number 2 in town. We already know they're going for number 2 in town. The thing that these guys do, they great at marketing. They roll Darius Garland out there. Mm-hmm. They roll new uniforms out there. Listen, the Guardians, there's a lot of things that they could be doing to get people more excited than they do.
What that got to do with them in first place?
Because, what you mean? Listen, what you mean? They in first place, but the people ain't even caught on.
That don't matter.
Yes, it do.
No, at the end of the day,
it's a business.
At the end of the day,
they want every one of them
At the end of the day,
I'm like a tennis match.
Hold on, wait a minute. Because at the end of the day, G, you've been in the locker room. It's not about the fan. It's about you and me and everybody on this team. We owe it to each other to do this. I don't care if it's 0 fans in the stands. I'm about to still play my heart out for you.
Nah,
for sure.
In that case,
that's a fact.
In that case, Tybus would have went to Toledo.
What you mean?
You went to Ohio State because there's 120 in the stands.
I agree with you in principle. But here, let me tell you something. I agree with you in principle, but I would tell you. When I was in Chicago Stadium, it was sold out every night.
Every night.
When I got to Seattle, they had 5,000 people.
Like, what the hell? In Chicago.
But when that ball got tipped off, what mattered?
Man,
the energy.
No, they can't create. BYOB. BYOJ. Bring your own juice.
It's just not the energy. It's
wait a minute. Baker Mayfield looked like one of the best quarterbacks in 2020
when they turn them lights off and be like, coming to Chicago Bulls.
McNuggets, tell them you don't need no fans, man.
Oh, we got to do top 5 real quick, and it is baseball, quasi-baseball related.
Okay.
G. Bush
all right, here we go.
This week.
This is good one.
That's brought to us by?
Brought to who? Who brought to this by?
But Roundstone Insurance, yep. Roundstone offers a better alternative for affordable quality health care for more than a decade. Roundstone Insurance has been saving small and mid-sized businesses money up to 20%. 20%. Contact us today to learn how you can get great health care benefits that your employees will love and save some money, too. Who doesn't like saving some money? I know I do.
Here we go. This is a nice top 5 right here. This spawned from yesterday's conversation.
Monday.
I'm ready.
Monday.
Yeah, so G. Bush brought up on Monday after we did the Mustard investigation. Mustard got sent down to AAA after going 0 for 50 in the races. And we started talking about, which is crazy, by the 0 for 50. It's a bit. I'm not sure if it started as a bit, but it's one of the Guardians, best bits they've done in a while. So this is the 5 best toppings for a hot dog. Before we start, I did a lot of research on this. There's not a lot of toppings for hot dogs that are common. So these are all common toppings, not like the crazy kimchi blast burger.
In the black
dog,
community, there's a lot of condiments.
You seen the glizzy with the cereal?
Let's see what we got.
Let's see number 5. Chopped onions. Not a huge fan, but it was better than sauerkraut. There was only 6 I could really find.
I don't like onions.
Chopped onions is cool.
I don't eat onions, so.
I don't do dogs, but keep it coming.
Whoa.
No, you don't eat what
I
you
just
eat
had one a couple of days
Not
ago.
even all beef?
Not even turkey?
Dang,
I
dog.
do bratwurst.
You do bratwurst?
Okay,
all right, here we go.
We'll keep it moving.
I ain't doing no dog.
Number 4, relish.
I ain't doing no relish.
It's hit or miss. If it's a great relish, maybe, but just not my thing.
Some people's relish
man.
be too pickly. Some people relish be too sweet. I'm cool on that. What you think? Yeah, I can't do no relish.
I ain't doing no relish. Nope. Onions and relish, nope. So far, 0 for 2.
All right, go to number 3.
VMix kicked us out for a sec, so we're going to have to go off the cuff here.
Man.
What's off the cuff?
Number 3, ketchup.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a classic. Everybody got to do that.
That's actually pretty much number 1, bro.
No, it ain't.
It's definitely not number 1.
It ain't number 1. Number 1 is the 2-word thing for me, but go ahead.
All right, we're still out of VMix, so we'll go off the cuff. Number 2, mustard.
Yeah,
okay.
Yellow, is it brown?
I like spicy mustard personally.
Right.
But there's stadium mustard though.
That's what that better be number one.
No, stadium mustard, spicy mustard. It's the same thing. It's not the. It's in there. No, number one, and we're still at a VMix, so the graphics don't matter. Luckily, we're on a nice generic topic bar.
Yeah.
Chili.
Man.
Now, hold on. Let me hold on. All right. Now, listen.
I ain't got no problem with it, but that's not number one.
What's the number one thing in a hot dog that you got at any black party?
Barbecue sauce.
Nope. It's easy.
A Polish boy?
No. You listen.
I don't know the answer to this.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows. At every little kid party, it'd be sloppy joes. At every party.
Does it?
Yes. See, he from Warrensville.
Sloppy Joe's is fire.
What you about to say?
I need to move out to Warrensville. Shoot, he ain't no sloppy joes. Hey, I forgot. Hey, look.
I don't have a problem with a chili cheese dog, but that's not something I gotta have. Like, if I get a hot dog, the number one thing I want is spicy mustard.
Skyline chili. You ever had Skyline?
Yeah, Skyline.
It's
good.
Okay.
Skyline good.
It's
I
all
like
right.
it.
It's mid.
Yeah. Cheese on it. No cheese.
Skyline right there off 77 in Canton.
Yep.
Yeah, I know your spot.
Skyline, little sprinkled cheese.
Yeah, I got
them
you.
little mini joints. We good. Now, I will take a bratwurst over a hot dog, though.
Yeah.
I'll take a Polish boy over all of that.
I'll eat that, too.
Yeah.
All right.
That's good.
All right.
We're good.
All right, McNuggets.
We got final take because we can't do anything else.
Oh, yeah, because you no good, bad bet.
We got no graphics.
Oh, it's all right,
we'll
man.
go to final
Tyvis,
takes.
man. No graphics.
Tyvis.
Oh, what?
Nope. We ain't got
no
graphics.
graphics, bro.
Yes. I ain't used to this.
Get your money.
I ain't used to this.
Off.
All right.
You got extra time. Get your money off.
My final man. This is serious. My final take today is to go out to all undrafted and low round picks. You know, the preseason game is coming up here in 2 days, and I actually I went undrafted to Seattle, and I know exactly how a lot of you undrafted people are feeling. You're feeling like, I'm better than this. I feel disrespected. You feel like you got overlooked. You feel like sometimes it's like a ticking time bomb. When you get in that game, man, first of all, realize one thing. You made it to the NFL. Whether it didn't go the way that you planned. I always had the plans of going up there, holding the jersey, being the number one first-round pick. It didn't go that way. But I was grateful for the fact that I had an opportunity. And I was going to let the world know that I belonged on this stage. And when you get out there on Friday, just remember that it's still the same game that you played when you was a kid. It's a lot more at stake, though. So when you go out there, if you undrafted or a low-round pick, the number one thing you need to worry about is special teams. Make your mark on special teams. I went out there my first game. I darn near downed the punt on the one, had a crackback block on punt return, and made a tackle on kickoff return. Got my chance to finally go in on defense, and what did I do? Got a pick. So make sure when you get that chance and your moment and it's your number and your time to shine, you don't disappoint. You was made for this moment. You're there for a reason. Show them why you belong to stay in the NFL.
Okay.
Excellent. Good job.
Appreciate that.
All right. Let me get my money
from
off.
From an OG.
OG. Let me get my money off here. All right, so let me talk to you about this, right? The long game. You've heard us talk all day, railing about player association, players, leadership, and everything else, right? I don't care what organization you belong to. I don't care if it's the Postal Union. I don't care if it's the Pipe Fitters Union. I don't care what union it is or what relationship you have. You owe a duty not only to yourself, but the other members of the organization you belong to be at least invested in the outcome and the results. You don't get to take a pass and say, well, I got mine, I'm good, right? Because what happens is ultimately, somewhere along the line, it comes back to bite the group. If you're a member of the group, you got to be a member of the group. You have to read all the fine print, right? And then you have to understand the bigger game that's being played here. And so I don't care what organization you are and what union you are, leadership matters. It really does matter. It matters from the standpoint that you put people in place that you feel like can represent your interests to the fullest. You may not be a person that wants to take on that charge and do the day-to-day, but you have to find somebody that wants to do it. And typically, some of your better employees, better members have to take a position. It's a responsibility of the group that you have to commit to it. You don't have to do it for life, but you have to do your turn at it. And so what happens is when they can not assume the position of the leadership role, somehow things miraculously seem to get by people. I am still flabbergasted that this little clause in this union agreement got by the group. And if it did not get by the group, those that saw it, shameful for those that didn't rail at the end. Because there was a vote taken. There was a vote taken, and they could have put the kibosh on it right there. Right there. But the problem is what happens is what they typically do, they throw a few kibbles and bits to a few people, gave you a couple more shekels, and everybody else was like, good. And you know what they said when it happened? Got you. Got this little card in my back pocket. I don't know if I'm going to need to play it, but if I do, it's an insurance marker. So that's why I say, no matter what organization you are, where your workplace, if you're in a union or in a group that is supposed to advocate for the other people, pay attention to the rules. Pay attention to the players. Hold your people accountable, because if they don't get it done, there's a recourse. I'm very interested to see the recourse, what happens to the NFLPA here at the end. Because the entire kit and caboodle should be wiped out at the end, right? Again, I'll tell you this, and I'll just say it as I close. It's shameful that we haven't heard a peep from the NFLPA. It's shameful.
I would probably waste my time, trying to be funny or doing something else, but there's topics that you got to get to and they mean something. I've always noticed this question. I've asked a lot of people this question, and I don't ask any questions just to ask them. I do it to set up what my premise is. And I've given you this premise since the beginning of the day, since the beginning of the month, since the beginning of the year. I've done videos on them. Some of them have gotten over almost 60,000 views, 30,000 views, 40,000 views. I thank you people all. One central theme that I have is the level of accountability. And it's not just a sham at the NFL level, it's a sham at the media level, at the national and the local level. You see, there's too often, there's gatekeepers in the game. You ever wonder how you get to be a reporter? You ever wonder how you just get to have a television or radio show? It's kind of odd. You don't never have to know anybody, or you don't know how to get there. That's why when you have so many different people that start on YouTube and do blogs, those people are needful because they give you the information that reporters and the media today refuse to take and speak truth to power. Ask yourself this question. As we go through the Deshaun Watson case, I've said it to multiple reporters, I've asked lawyers, I've asked everybody that we're willing to wait. Where are the Houston Texans? And usually you get what we call clever misdirection. Well, that is a thing we'll worry about later on down the line. No. Why can't nobody answer that question? See, they're not doing that for themselves. They're saying to you and echoing the sentiment and the arrogance of the league. Now, child, sit here. sit here. Let us take care of it. That's not what you're supposed to be asking. And the reason this happens and it goes on is because everybody thinks this game is a position. See, players have games where you go from high school to college to pros. Well, see, this is the way it works in the media. You go from local to national to, oh my goodness, I'm syndicated. And if you think you can get from local to national to syndicated without the stamp and approval of the major organizations and the players like the NFL, you're crazy, right? So when Jay hit me up today and he said, G. Bush, man, I'm telling you from my perspective, I thought it was powerful. I thought it was moving because he telling you behind the scenes, y'all don't stand a chance. Fox, ESPN, MSNBC, CNN, wherever you want to go, guess what? They are major businesses that are beholden to politicians, big name companies, and not the least to say the NFL. So at the end of the day, it's not the national people you should worry about, it's your local people. Local people, Ask the right questions. Don't ask the Cleveland Browns about Deshaun Watson 45 times. You know good and well what the answer is. They're not going to tell you anything. That is not doing your job. That's being hard-headed and being stubborn. At the end of the day, let's figure out the way we can speak truth to power and start having an opportunity to get the real message out, asking the real questions. And then maybe just one day, we can all have just a sliver of what we call justice.
Well said.
Man, that's right on point.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey, man.
We keep it real here. We keep it 100. You're going to get real takes.
Hey, when the NAACP in the building, we give you real final takes. We giving you all Jet magazine.
What's your stage
all
name?
Source. Hey, Black Suede. G. Bush, a.k.a. Black Suede, a.k.a. Diabolique Massenberg. New album coming out, too. Mixtape coming out.
Assalamu alaikum.
Bush 6.
McNuggets, man. What we got tomorrow, bro?
We got an all UCSS show. Jason Lloyd back in the house. Mike Polk in the house.
Oh.
Jay joining us. So it'll be a full show here. And
Hey.
maybe a guest, maybe a surprise guest.
Don't you play that clip anymore with Watson's facts no more.
That boy came around the bottom.
People loved it.
We get Jay back, man. Listen, man. By the way, shout out to everybody. I'm gonna say this. This is the best part about this show. Matter of fact, hit that subscribe and like button. We the hottest thing on the internet.
There they go.
Hottest thing in the streets. There you go. Keep that Deshaun Watson that stuff coming. And by the way,
Some good facts on there, man.
every single time we rotate the panel, the show just has another undertone in it, don't it?
Yeah, it
it's
does.
like a fine wine or brandy. Every time you swivel it up, you be like, man, that's some good hooch right there, isn't it? It always comes up.
And we got to give one G. Bush. I think I could say this on air. Smartass Official, the YouTube commenter who's always in our show. It's her birthday today, so.
Oh, Smartass Official. Hey, happy birthday. Congratulations. Thank you so much for watching and being a part of it. And our chat is lit. Sometimes I check in under there and they just be talking about stuff. They don't even pay attention to the show. They be in there meeting and greeting. Hey, do your thing.
They do, though. I was in there on Monday, and I was looking like, oh, look, I ain't never got a chance to see it. I love y'all, though.
And I know the answer right now. We are in a 22-hour break. Look at that. I got that right. 22 hours.
Good math.
Math.
Good math.
That's my boy.
Man, listen. Woo.